Hari Om, everybody. So a couple of weeks ago, we had left off with a discussion on Sat, Asat. It is neither Sat nor Asat. And I hope that the video last week clarified everything for you, Lakshman. I just also, like I said, I think that is how grace works. In the last 2 weeks, after we had that discussion, in our Vivek Chudamani class, we did verse number 352 in Vivek Chudamani. And this 352 is a description of the pure consciousness given by Bhagavan Shankaracharya. And the way it goes is Nitya, Advaya, Akhanda, Chid Eka Rupaha, Buddhyadi Sakshi, Sat Asat Vilakshanaha. Sat Asat Vilakshanaha. Aham Pada Pratyaya Lakshitarthaha. It is the indicative meaning of the word aham, because we use the word aham all the time. Aham karomi, aham, I do, I see, I perceive, I think, I feel, whatever I, but the indicative meaning of that I is that Brahman, telling you the oneness between this thing. Pratyak Sadananda Ghana Paratma. Okay. And then Swami Teshwamanji was doing Dhanyashtakam. So the verse number 6 in Dhanyashtakam, once again written by Bhagavan Shankaracharya. Na asat. Okay, is it sat? Na sat. Beginning of this verse, verse number 6. It's a very melodious verse. Swamiji chanted it in a very melodious way, but I'm just going to go prose. So na sat. Na sat, na sat, san, na sat, na sat, na sat, na mahat. It is not big. Oh, is it small? Na anu. Na anu. Na stri. Oh, is it a man? Na puman. Na stri, na puman. Is it a neuter? Na napusankaha. Bhagavan Shankaracharya's Ekam Bijam. Eka Bijam. The one and the only seed for all the plurality. Eka Bijam. Yaha Brahma Tat Samanupasit Meka Chittahi Dhanya Vire Juritare Bhavapasha Baddaha. The person is Dhanya. That person is Dhanya who recognizes Brahman to be this. Na Sat, Na Asat. Na Stri, Na Purusha. Na neutral. Na big, not small. Na Mahat, na Anuhu. This is how when he comes to experience that Brahman, he becomes Dhanya. Okay, so it was very, very timely that these verses.
Thank you. Thank you for this explanation. I just want to compliment your effort by saying on listening, Aham Dhanyaha.
Yeah, that is what the idea of using all these contradictory terms is that your intellect must not have any idea of Brahman. It's there. Is it big? Is it small? It's not there. It is here. That is the whole effort. Then we saw 14 and 15. We had seen this. So Sarvata Panipadam. Everywhere, all the hands are mine and all the legs are mine. To be understood in two different ways. One is that those hands, any hands or any legs or gross body. 14 is referring to gross body. 15 is referring to subtle body. So the gross bodies of every being, human, animal, plant, whatever, they are all mine, means they cannot function without me. In 7, he said, they are in me, I am not in them. So here Bhagavan is saying, they are in me. He is not saying I'm not in them. There he said both. And what meant was they are dependent on me. I am never dependent on them. So here he's saying they are all in me means they are mine. He's saying they are mine. They are mine means I control them because without me they cannot function. So where is the control? Control is with Brahman. We think that I am in control. That is ego. I control my life. I control my day. Nothing we control. That is to be understood. Tat sarvato shishira mukham. All the mouths are mine and faces are mine and all the sarvata shruti maloke sarvam ma avratya tishtati. I remain pervading everything. That is one way of understanding that everything that is in this world is dependent on me as the supreme substratum. And second one understanding is this is his description with upadhi. See, there is a Nirupadik Brahman, right? Nirupadik and Saupadika. So Nirupadik is Brahman and Saupadika is called Atman. That's Atman and Brahman is one and the same. Jiva and Brahman is one and the same. But when the word Brahman is used, it is referring to the totality, and then it becomes Advaya and Nitya, what we saw in Vivek Chudamani. When it is described as Buddhyadi Sakshi, it is with Upadhi, because Sakshi can only be there when there is something to be witnessed. So this one is a description of Sakshi, because all these hands are there and legs are there and faces are there and they are all mine. They are all mine. So that means he's a Sakshi of all those. And not only that he's a Sakshi, they cannot function without him. No hand can move without his permission. Think it like that. Okay. And then Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, Sarvendriya Indriya Vivarjitam. So all referring to subtle body, all the minds, intellects, they function because of me. And when that Upadhi is there, then I'm Sakshi of the thoughts. I am the ultimate Sakshi of the thoughts. So it's called as Sakshi with reference to the Upadhi, but actually it is Nirupadik. Because the world has to be understood as an illusion, as a superimposition on him. Okay? Guna, nirgunam, guna. I have no gunas. I'm beyond sattva, rajas, tamas. The mind is sattva, rajas, tamas. I'm neither the enjoyer. I am not the enjoyer. Who is enjoying is the jiva, the bird on the lower branch in Mundaka Upanishad. He is the one that is pecking at the fruit and saying, oh, this is good, this is not good. I am not that. I am the bird on the higher branch. I do not enjoy anything. Okay, so this same description is now, thought process is continuing in 16. Bahirantascha bhutanam acharam charamevacha sukshmatvat vidneyam durastham chantike chatata. Without and within all beings, the moving and also the unmoving and also the moving, because of its subtlety, unknowable, and near and far away is that. This is very similar to the verse in Ishavasya Upanishad. This is how Ishavasya also describes Brahman. So within and without all beings. So inside and outside. So inside me also, but outside as well. Now, we have said it is Akhanda. So if there is something inside and then there is Brahman outside, then it's broken. It's broken by this Upadhi of body. And this is where we come to know, or we must understand, therefore, that this Upadhi is illusory. So the example, and I just, yesterday's class only I told, Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, see space. That's why we give the example of space. Space is closest to Brahman. So space, now I'm saying this is my den, this is my kitchen, this is my living room, this is my bedroom. I'm saying it because of the walls. So there is space inside here and then there is space outside. And the description is giving I am means Brahman is inside. So space is inside as well as outside. Then is space divided? It appears divided because of the wall. The minute I break the wall down, is there going to be a difference between the den and the living room, or den and whatever? And so this Upadhi of the body, because of which we feel that there is Atman inside, and then we are saying that Brahman is everywhere. So outside also there is Brahman and inside also there is Brahman. There is no inside outside in Brahman. Is there inside outside in space? Are there directions in space? We say north, south, east, west. How have we done that? With the Upadhi of the sun. We say sun rises in the east. That's why we call it as east. Because we see the sun coming up. Remove the sun. from the space. Remove the sun. Directions are superimposed on space. Directions are illusory. Their superimposition happens because of the upadhi of the sun. Same way. This thing, Atma inside, Brahman inside and outside, is happening because of the upadhi of the body. Space, kitchen space, living room space is happening because of the upadhi of the wall. All you do is break the wall. You cannot tell the difference in the space, in the kitchen space and the living room space. Same way. When this body is dissolved or falsified in your own mind, and that will happen when you reach Nirvikalpa Samadhi, when you falsify the upadhi, which is already false, because if it was real to begin with, you could never falsify it. So when it is, so within and without all beings, inside, unmoving and also moving. So unmoving and moving, you sit in a car, okay? I'm going to sit in the car and I'm going to drive the car to place A. Did I move? Was I physically moving? I was not moving. And yet, I am now at place A. So what moved? The upadhi moved. In that case, the car moved. And therefore, it appears like I moved. I'm inside the car. Was I moving? I can be a passenger in the car. So at least you can say, oh, driver was moving his hands and braking and accelerating. I'm a passenger in a car. I'm just sitting. That's it. So unmoving, yet moving. So Atma within is actually unmoving. But now the upadhi is moving. The hands are moving. So it appears like the Atma is moving. Is Atma moving? Can Atma move? Can space move? Even space can't move. If I go from here to place A, did the space from here move to place that destination A? Did space move? I moved. Space didn't move. So that's why the unmoving as well as the moving, I am the substratum for both unmoving and moving. Now you can understand it as the existence principle which is supporting the inert as well as the living. And that substratum is not changing. So I am in the moving, chara achara, evacha. I mean, these contradictory terms, I told you, you cannot form any concept of Brahman. We must not. We are the subject. It is the subject. We are that subject. Because of its subtlety, unknowable. Because of it. Now let's understand. So if it's unknowable, then what is the point of doing all the studies? So because the organs, because of its subtlety, unknowable, our gross organs can only see gross things. That's why we say, make the mind subtle. See, even space we actually do not see. Forget Brahman. We see only light. Space is inferred. Please understand, space is an inference. It is not direct perception. It is an object. It is matter, and it is matter which is inferred. It is not matter which is seen directly, direct perception. What is happening, the direct perception that is happening is light. And in that light, you infer that, yes, there is space. Or when you're in a pitch dark room where there is no light, you move your hand or you move your foot. And then you infer, yes, there is space. A blind person, therefore, see how they walk with a cane. They feel the space in front of them. They say, oh, there is no stone, there is no nothing. And then he'll step forward. So he infers that there is space for me to put my foot forward, and then he does it. Okay, so space is unknowable, unperceivable by the senses. How can you know Brahman? It is so subtle. We can only know gross objects, direct perception, all these. We can infer, okay, it rained last night because the roads are wet. We can infer, we can compare. All those methods of knowledge we can know. But this being so very subtle, even subtler than space, it cannot even be inferred. It only has to be experienced. It is different. Inference and experience are different. Inference is a matter of intellect. You infer. Your intellect is telling you that. Brahman is not an object of inference either, because then the intellect would have inferred that, oh, this is Brahman. And you cannot know it by the intellect. That's why it is saying, because of its subtlety is unknowable, but really it is not unknowable. Know it to be your own self. And to know that, for that to happen, the mind has to become extremely subtle. And extremely subtle means extremely pure. How do I make my mind subtle? Body, so that's why there is no hope. There is no chance. Don't even try to purify the body. Purify means, yeah, you can use soap and shampoo and keep it clean. But it will remain dirty forever and ever and ever. Body, because you can't get rid of the blood and the fecal matter and the urine and the pus and the this and that. You can't get rid of that with soap and shampoo. So forget the body. Mind can be purified. Work on the mind and purify the mind. That will make it very, very, very subtle. The more purified the mind, the more subtle it is, the more it will be able to understand what this Brahman is. Yesterday I gave the example. See, if there is a log of wood, you try to put it in water. Will it ever mix with water? It's very gross. It's not going to mix with water. But look at the rivers. The rivers flow into the ocean, and you can never separate the river water from the ocean water ever again. Why? Because they are of the same, they have the same fluidity, subtlety. They have the same, water is fluid, ocean is fluid, they mix and then they can merge. But wood and water, that will never merge. Wood will never merge into water. So the body is like the wood. So don't even bother with the body. Mind you can make subtle. Okay, because it is extremely subtle, this Brahman, extremely subtle. And near and far away is that. Near to those who have faith that it is there. Why is near and far? What is this near and far? One aspect of near and far is those who have faith in it. It is very close. Those who don't have faith in it, it is very far for them. See, very example. Now I have a neighbor here. He physically is very close to me, but is he like, do I know him that well, or is he near to me? Can he be near? He can be, but say he can't. But my own daughter is in New York, many, many miles away, but she's still nearer to me than this neighbor of mine who is right next door. Is it not? So near and far, it is not a space separation. That, yeah, this neighbor is very close to me, but physically close, not mentally. That is one aspect. So if you believe in Brahman, if you have faith in Brahman, if you have faith in the scriptures, if you have faith in the spiritual masters who are telling us that it is within you, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, 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 9 times. If you have faith in that, then it is very close to you. It's not even close to you, it is you. Tattvamasi. But if you don't have faith in it, then it is very far away. Because to reach that, you don't even have faith. That's why this near, far, the inside, out, all these descriptions have come in Ishavasya. Ishavasya describes this like this, Brahman like this. So near and far have to be understood as having faith. Okay, the other thing of near and far is, it is all pervading. So Brahman is all pervading. So how it can never be far away from you. But if you don't know, if you don't have faith in it, then it is very far away from you. Because of the all pervasiveness of Brahman, space. Can you say space is close to me or far away? I am in space. Where is the question of far or near? I am in space. I am in consciousness. I am in Brahman. This body is in Brahman. What I think is that there is a body and inside there is a soul. That's incorrect. That's delusion. That's wrong thinking. There is consciousness, and this whole body is in consciousness only. That is how this understanding has to be. This is why these contradictory terms are being given. I am inside and I am outside. As compared to the upadhi, if you think the upadhi is real, then understand that I am within the upadhi, outside of the upadhi. If you're seeing objects which are moving and unmoving, then understand them as I being the substratum of both of them. I'm the one that is the existence principle in the unmoving, and I am the existence conscious principle in the moving. So I'm both there. I'm unknowable. Why? With your gross sense objects, I'm unknowable because I'm very, very, very subtle. So what is subtler than the body and the sense organs is the mind. And that definitely can understand when it transcends itself, it'll know the subject because I'm the subject. So I'm this most subtle. And I am near to those who have faith in me, who have faith in the scriptures, who have faith in the guru who is saying Tattvamasi. If I have that firm faith, I'm very close to you. If you don't have the faith, then I'm very far away from you. Okay? Clear? Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamiva cha sthitam bhuta bhartru cha tadneyam grasishnu prabha vishnu cha. And undivided, so and means it's continuing, the thought is continuing, and undivided, yet he exists as if divided in beings. That is to be known as the supporter of beings. He devours and he generates. So undivided, yet he exists as if Eva word is extremely important in Vedanta, in Vedantic parlance, as though divided. So within the being now is appearing, I am here, you are there, somebody else is over, tree is over there, mountain is over there. So now there is all these divisions because of the upadhis only, but actually is not divided. Space, again, space is the best way to understand this. Is space divided? We say space inside my house and then outside. House itself is standing in space. So even though undivided, he appears divided, as though divided, because of the upadhi, which tells you that the upadhi is illusory. Because you can never really divide. Can you really divide space? You can't even divide space. You can't even actually divide water, air. So what you will divide Brahman? Because it's even subtler than space. Vibhaktam ivacha sthitam. So he is, that is to be known, okay, exists as if vibhakta. He appears vibhakta, though he is avibhakta. Vibhakta divided, avibhakta not divided. Although he is undivided, he appears as divided because of the upadhis. And then know him, tadneyam, grasishnu is to eat. So this is describing Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. So he himself is the creator of this world. He himself is the supporter, sustainer, Vishnu. So Brahma, creator, Vishnu, supporter, and then destroyer is Shiva. So these three words, he devours is what destroys, and he generates. He generates, so creates, and as the supporter of beings. This is what it is. Grasishnu. No, first it is Bhuta Bhartrucha. Bhuta Bhartru. Bhartru is the one who maintains. Bhuta, all the beings. He maintains how? From the highest level, from the highest standpoint, he is the existence principle. That is why I always experience the world as is. I am, you are, computer is, car is, house is. You never say is not. That isness is this bhartru, that sustenance. Then he devours, grasishnu. In pralaya, in destruction, everything goes back to me. Even quantum physics is telling us now that matter in its final moment of destruction becomes energy. So he is the energy, Brahman. Everything goes back into Brahman. Nothing gets destroyed. Body gets recycled, soul is immortal. But it appears that he devours. These all appearances, because there is no creation. He'll talk about creation. Prabha Vishnu. So Prabhava is to come forth. So generates, so, or born or creates. So that is referring to Brahmaji, who creates, Vishnu, who sustains, and Shiva, who destroys. Understand him to be the substratum of all three. Okay. So far clear? Now, important verse coming up, 18. Jyotishamapi jyotihi tamasa paramuchate jnanam neyam jnanagamyam hridhi sarvasya vishtitam. That the light of that which is to be known is said to be beyond darkness. Knowledge, that which is to be known, and the goal of knowledge seated in the hearts of all. It's a bit complicated when it's written like that, but no worries. Jyotishamapi tad jyotihi. This, believe it or not, this came even in Dhanyashtakam, and I'll tell you how Guruji explained it there. He said, okay, there is appliance and there is electricity. What he's saying is, Brahman is the Jyoti of Jyotis, is the light of lights. So he says, in the case of appliance and electricity, appliance is the light and the light of lights is electricity, which means what? Appliance cannot function without electricity. Electricity can stay without appliance. Whether appliance is there or not, it doesn't bother electricity at all. But if appliance is there and it has to be worked, then of course there is a botheration if that electricity is not there. So who is dependent on who? So Jyotishamapi Jyoti, this na tatra suryo bhati chandra tarakam is this verse, okay? That's the Upanishad says it. 15th chapter also this will come. So let's understand, he is the Jyoti of Jyotis. Now, light of lights. So what is the light, main light, natural light that we know there are 5? That's why na tatra surya bhati na chandra tarakam. First is the sun. A natural source of light we are talking of. Moon is there, stars are there, lightning is there, and fire. These are the 5 sources of natural light. And we think that we are getting light from the sun or the reflected light of the moon. Moon is reflected light from the sun. That's why we take only sun as an example. Fire, heat and light both. There can be light because of fire. Lightning, it'll flash and it'll go, but it'll give light. Now, what he's saying is, I am the light of all these lights. Means what? Means their light is dependent on me. In 15th chapter, he'll say the same thing. Now, let us understand what is meant by their light. Means sun has no light of its own. No, it doesn't. But I see the sun bright and shining in the sky. So let's take the example of the sun. Say the sun is shining, but there is not a single living being. Imagine on earth. Nobody is living. There's no living being. Who is going to validate the sun? Who is validating the sun in the sky? It is my eye that is validating. And therefore the light in my eye is more powerful than the sun. Because the sun cannot validate my eyes. The sun cannot validate the light behind my eyes, but the light behind my eyes, which is the light of Brahman, is validating the sun. And therefore, my eyes become more powerful than the sun. That is what he means here. Jyotishamapi jyotihi. I am the light of all lights. They shine because of me. They shine because of my presence. It's the same thing, same meaning, understanding is all the bodies are functioning because of me. But here he's saying the light, because we think, oh, sun is giving the light. We think that. They're natural sources of light. That's why the verse is there. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam. The sun cannot reach you. The sun cannot reach you. You cannot see Brahman in the light of sun, because the light of the sun is because of Brahman. Gurudev's example, flashlight. The flashlight can never see its own batteries. Why? Because the source of the light of flashlight is the battery. That is, so the battery is the jyoti of flashlight. Light of lights. Jyotishamapi jyotihi. Jyotihi Tamasa paramuchyate. Tamasa, it's beyond tamas also. You're the light. So darkness, I'm beyond darkness. Now, this part is to be understood as I'm the substratum of both light and darkness indicating knowledge and ignorance. So I am that one which is telling me that I know physics, and at the same time, it is telling me also that I don't know chemistry. I am that light, Brahman, which is when I walk into a dark room, simultaneously it is illumining my presence in that dark room, as well as it is illumining the darkness outside that I see. That's why Paramuchyate, I'm supreme. Brahman is supreme. Okay. Jnanam. What is Jnanam? In this chapter, the 20-point program that he gave us, knowledge. What is knowledge? He said Jnanam. That's why he also said that is the only Jnanam to be known. There is nothing else worthy of knowing even. Jnanam. Neyam. What is Neyam? The supreme reality. This Jyotihi of Jyoti. So go beyond the sun. Go beyond what you see. Go beyond the upadhis and see what is that which is making all these things function. That is what Niyam is. That is what the real Niyam is. What we think is I need to know how my funds will increase and how this will happen and in the external world. Niyam. Jnana Gamyam. It is to be known by words. Knowledge, that which is to be known. What is to be known? Is this Niyam? Is this supreme reality? And how is it to be known? By the 20-point program. Therefore, Jnanam, Neyam, Jnanagamyam. And where is this Brahman? Riddhi Sarvasya Vishtitam. Where will I look for this? Therefore, Riddhi, once again, this, I told you, all Upanishads, it is seated in the heart of all beings. And the reason is to draw our attention inside. That attention, which for births and births, the senses are going out. And in the Nyashtakam Guruji said that, he said, when the senses go out, you go away from yourself. It's taking you away. And he gave the very beautiful example. He said, people sit on the plane and they want Wi-Fi. Why? Because I have to be connected with my office. I have to be connected with my home, my house. You want to be connected with that. You are losing connection with your own self. So the Dhanya Purusha is one who maintains his connection with his own self. That is the basis. So Riddhi Sarvasya Vishtitam. It is seated in the hearts of all. How do I now look for this one who is seated in the hearts, in my own heart? Okay. So in the world, there is the triad. We have seen this many times. There is the experiencer, like Gurudev would say. There is the experiencer. So there's the experiencer, which is the subject, the experienced, which is the object, and then there is an experiencing, an experience happening when the subject and object are coming in contact. Because if the subject and the object do not come in contact, no experiencing can happen. Correct? If there is a message waiting for me on my WhatsApp, but unless I open my phone and see it, I wouldn't know either the happy news or the sad news or whatever news that there is there. Their experiencing is not going to happen until the subject me comes in contact with the object phone. Okay, so there are these three things. Now, the experienced world is constantly changing. Is it not? So even when I experience, say, happiness, it'll go away tomorrow. Now, today there is sunshine, so maybe I'm happy. Tomorrow it's going to start raining, then that is going away. Isn't the experienced world objects changing constantly? Has not my body even changed? Knowing this, devalue it. That is the idea. How do I get, we are trying to see, Riddhi Sarvasya Vishtitam. Okay, this part we are trying to see. He is located in the hearts of all. Sarvasya. So he is located in my heart. That is first thing. Don't try to look for him in somebody else's heart. that is not going to work. So he is located in every heart. That means I am included in that sarvasya. So let me just look in my own heart. Now, how do I do this? Three things are happening in my life. There is an experienced world. There is an experiencer, which I feel I'm experiencing, and there is the experiencing. So the experienced world has to be devalued first, because when I put value on that experienced world, my senses are going to go there. Simple. Simple. When I think that, sunshine is going to give me happiness, so every day I'm looking at my Yahoo app. When is sunshine going to come? When is sunshine going to come? And it is changing. It'll come today, it'll go tomorrow. That is changing. So devalue. And devaluation of experienced world is by reducing our dependency on the experienced. How do I devalue? How do I devalue? If I am not dependent on anything outside, it is of no value to me. So if sunshine is there or not there, I am happy. My dependency is not there on the external world. So reduction of dependency on the experienced world object. Next is the experiencing. Experiencing also has to be devalued. How? We are trying to shift our attention from there are three things. There is experiencer, experiencing, experienced. We have to shift our attention from these three and bring them into Riddhi Sarvasya Vishtitam. Okay, this is what we are doing. How do I do? As regards the external world, I reduce my dependency on it. That's the number one thing, because that's very gross. That is the easiest thing to do. I cannot sleep without my pillow. I must have my blanket. I have to have my tea in the morning. I have to have my coffee in the afternoon. That sort of dependency should not be there. Okay, tea is not available. Okay, fine, no problem. That's how you will devalue. Experiencing. Note that the experiencing also is different. There is a hot cup of tea waiting for me in the cold weather of Canada, and that experience is extremely good because I'm drinking a hot cup of tea in cold weather. But that same hot cup of tea, if I'm on the equator, is it going to give me that pleasure? Understanding this, devalue the experiencing as well. Devaluation of the world, external objects, has to be to an extent, they put discount, 20% discount, 50%, then we run, 50% discount, let me run to this store. 100% discount is to be given to the world. If you want to know the one, Riddhi Sarvasya Vishtitam, if you want to know Brahman, the world has to be devalued 100%. And this is how it is to be done. Reduction of dependency, knowing that this experience, which I think, tea gave me so much pleasure, tea gave me so much pleasure, there is no happiness or pleasure in the tea, and tea is only an example. So this object gave me pleasure, this person gives me very pleasure. That same person, when it behaves contrary to your convictions, it will not give you pleasure. That person will not give you pleasure anymore. Think. So the experiencing, you have to understand that yes, right now, just now, with this thing, I'm happy, I feel happy, but the same thing, and there is no happiness in the world. There is no happiness in the object. Why? Because the same object should then give happiness to every single person. I've often told you, I drank tea all my life, and my husband, it never gave him any kind of, he was totally dispassionate towards tea. Complete 100% dispassionate. Why? It never gave him any pleasure. So why, if there is pleasure in that cup of tea, why is it not giving him pleasure? The thing that is giving me so much pleasure, why doesn't it give him? Pleasure is there, it should be there. So you have to understand that the happiness is not outside, it is inside. It is you within. That has to be, when you understand that it is within you, these outside things will not matter. Okay, understand. Now we come to the experiencer. This is the very important thing. This experiencer is therefore known as aham or I. I feel happy. I am so compassionate. I am this. I am that. I felt hurt. I. Who is this I? We have to think. And who is it? Who is the I? It is Chidabhasa. It is Jiva. It is ego. It is a reflection of consciousness, which is feeling all these things. When Bhagwan is saying is Riddhi Sarvasya Vishthitam, is this the I that Bhagwan is referring to? You have to think. Can it be? Because one reason, there are many, many reasons. Let's take a few. One reason is this Riddhi Sarvasya Vishthitam, whoever that is, entity is unchanging. Because the Upanishad has said that. It is changeless substratum. Now this I, which is experiencing, has it not changed? I told you just in the experience, your own child, I'm telling you, I've raised two. When they behave as you want them to behave, you're happy. The minute they start showing their own colors and you don't like it, you're not happy with them. So the ego is changing. So that I, that aham, which I think I am happy, I am sad, I am this, that, etc., etc., can it be Riddhi Sarvasya Vishthitam? No, it can't. So with this knowledge, you will devalue the ego as well. Why do I feel that much hurt? Because my ego is so strong. That's why. So you devalue the ego. Understand that the hurt is coming from the ego. The want is coming from the ego. The enjoyership, doership, everything is coming from ego. Now you understand that the ego is changing. It is not the reality. And you devalue it. Okay, so the ego is changing constantly. The other thing is about ego, it is a reflection. My God, does the reflection have any real reality? That's why thinking is, we forget this. See, we have heard these things. I've told you many times. There is a reflection in the mirror which has a double dependency. It is dependent on the mirror. It is dependent on me, on the object. You remove the mirror, the reflection will disappear. You remove me from the mirror, from in front of the mirror, the reflection disappears. The reflection has no real reality, and yet I am so hurt. I am so happy. Hurt comes more. Happy, we don't worry that much. An entity which is not even really real. How that hurt will be real? How that happiness will be real? How the jealousy will be real? How can it? The basis is only false. The reflection is saying, I am the one that is speaking. I can see my own reflection in the camera. If that reflection starts saying that, see, you are only not real. You're dependent on the camera. The minute I switch off the computer, you're going to disappear. How can whatever you do, whatever you feel, how can that be real? These three things, when you devalue, when you reduce your dependency on the outside objects, when you understand that the experience of happiness is happening from within, you will reduce your dependency on the outside. Because how do I reduce dependency? Is to understand that, no, I am happy not because of the pillow or the blanket or the cup of tea or whatever. I am happy because that is my basic nature. That's my basic nature. That's why I'm happy. Why do I feel happy? I feel happy from within. Happiness cannot come from outside because there is no, how can there be happiness in an inert object? It's an inert object. Pillow, this thing, your children have, my teddy bear, my this, my that. We also have, adults also have their own thing. If I don't get my cup of tea, newspaper, people in India, now of course there is internet and all that. Oh, newspaper didn't come. They're all upset. Why? Why? And the ego, that is the most subtle and most difficult. So understanding that the ego is false, understanding that the ego is changing, let go of it. When you do these three things, that is when you will come to experience what is Riddhi Sarvasya Vishthitam, that which is located in the hearts of all. Okay? About experiencing, one more thing is there. How do I, so and especially in the senior citizens, my mother-in-law also used to say, mind you, which is in a way it is true. She said, when we get old, because I was young, she was old that time, she used to say, we have nothing to look forward to. Future is not there. No, now old means what? Only death only now. So we focus on the past because we have got a whole lot of memories, whole lot of experiences. And now we revel in telling them, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And of course, the daughter-in-law is getting bored because she doesn't know who the mother-in-law is talking about. But this is how, so as spiritual seekers, one of our practices, one of our self-efforts is to not talk about anything from the past. Do not bring your past experiences into the present. This is how you devalue the, see, something good has happened in the past, right? So then I like to tell, oh, you know, I went there and it was so good and I was so this thing and I did this and I did that and I did da 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 da. Don't talk. Gurudev would say, past is dead and gone. So you delve into the past, it is only stinking. There's nothing good about it, right? So do not bring the past into the present. That is how you will devalue the experiencing. So what it is you experience in the present moment, you feel happy, let go. Therefore, in Hindi, there is a saying, neki kar aur kuein mein dal. Do good and throw it in the well. Because we do good and we'll go tell 10 other people, you know, I am the one that helped. I did this for her. I did this for him. I. Let go. Let go. Let go of the past. Do not ever bring the past. This is how you take care of the experiencing. Also, in the present, understand that this experience of happiness which I'm getting, I think it is coming from object outside. It is not. It is not. And then the experiencer, which is most important, stop paying so much attention to yourself, because yourself, when you pay attention, it is the ego. I am hurt, I am happy, I am this, I am intelligent, I am da 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 da. That needs to be devalued. Ultimately, all three have to be devalued. Reduce dependency, do not talk about the past experiencing, and then devalue the ego. And when you do these three things, you will recognize yourself to be that ultimate subject, which is Hridi Sarvasya Vishtitam. It's not the ego. Bhagavan is not referring to ego. Bhagavan is referring to himself. I am present. Because of me, the ego is there. Because of me, the reflection is there. Because of me, the reflection can even think or talk or feel or anything. Don't forget that. So ordinary, that's why I've always told you, everything that happens in your life, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Immediately, the dependency should only be on God. It should be no other money, position, power, children, other friends and humans. There should be no dependency. Ananya bhakti, that is what it is. Ananya, exclusive dependency only on God and God alone. That, because now he'll bring that into this thing. The bhakti part he will bring. We will stop here today, 18. Are there any questions in what we have studied? No? Okay. Because he's going to, there's just one more verse, 19. He concludes. 19 is a conclusion of what he has said, and then he will go into Prakriti and Purusha. Those were the questions. That was a question as well. So from 20 onwards, he goes into the explanation of Purusha and Prakriti. Very, very simple. That is, the only thing is we will try and understand the difference between Sankhya philosophy and Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta there. But otherwise, we have seen that all. But anyway.